So for hard-boiled eggs, there are many ways to do this. There's not just one right way, but I'm going to show you a way that I find pretty foolproof, and so hopefully it's a good starting point. You can always modify along the way if you like to do it a different way. So I'm starting with a pan of cold water, or not heated water, and I'm going to gently put my eggs in. You can either lower them in by hand, or if you have a slotted spoon or strainer, you can put them in more gently that way. You want to put in however many you want, and you want to make sure they're covered with water. We may have to add a little bit more water to this pan. You want to cover the eggs and leave a little bit extra even above that because some of the liquid will boil off. And then at this point, I'm going to turn up the heat. And if you want it to boil quicker, it's good to cover it. But once you covered it, you want to take a peek. It will boil over pretty quickly once it starts boiling. But what we're going to do is we're going to set a timer once the boiling starts. And then at that point, we will go ahead and take the eggs out at timed intervals. If you want like soft centered eggs, those ones you see in a beautiful salad where there's a little bit of runniness in the yolk, but the egg white is fully cooked, kind of a jammy consistency, then you want to go about 6 minutes or so after the boiling starts. And then, anywhere between 6 minutes up to 14 minutes, you're going to get incrementally more cooked eggs. You don't want to go too long beyond that. If you get really overcooked hard-boiled eggs, they start to get like a greenish black color around the yolk, which is really unappetizing. I personally like them about 10 minutes or so after the boiling happens, but it's really up to you, and it really depends on the use that you're going to have for them. So we have 4 in here. We'll do 1 at 6 minutes, 1 at 8, 1 at 10, and then we'll do 1 at 12, and we'll show you what they look like in the center when they're done. So it's been 6 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and take off the lid to my pan. If it's hot, you can use tongs to take it out. And I'm just going to use my slotted spoon here to gently lift out one of the eggs. We'll let those keep boiling. I'm going to reset my timer because we said we wanted to do the 8, 10, and 12 minutes. So give this 2 more minutes for our 8-minute egg. I'm going to take it out a few seconds early since I'm lagging here. So we have this very hot egg, so it's a little tricky, but I'm going to take my Sharpie marker here just for demonstration purposes and write 6 on this. We're going to gently put this into an ice bath. And so what an ice bath is, break up those ice cubes. An ice bath is just some water with ice cubes, a lot of ice proportional to the water. The reason we're going to do that is it helps to cool this off quickly. You don't want the eggs to keep cooking. There's a lot of carryover cooking because I hold heat really well in that shell. And so we want it to cool off and really stop at that 6-minute mark to get to the nice jammy inside of the eggs. Probably talk for another minute here. We can get the 8-minute egg out. If you really want to make these easy to peel, once they're cool, you can crack the shell and put it back in the water. Once a little water kind of leaks between the white part of the egg and the shell, it will make it really easy to peel that shell off. You have really, really fresh eggs though. It's just hard to peel the eggs. The older ones where they've gotten kind of, some of the liquid has evaporated and there's more space in the egg, they're much easier to peel. It's been 8 minutes, and I'll just demonstrate when you have a hot lid. You can use your tongs to take that off. Okay. Eggs. I should mention that the timing I gave for the eggs was for large eggs. If you're using medium or small eggs, you'll need to reduce the times a little bit. We have our 8-minute egg. Ah, it's really hot. Don't try this at home. So it's been 10 minutes of boiling time. I'm going to pull out my 10-minute egg. You can actually use the tongs to grab these out too, but if you slip, you can like crack your egg in the pan. So little more foolproof to use that slotted spoon. So, we have our 10-minute egg. Okay, so our 12-minute egg is done, so we're all finished cooking these. Like I said, people who like them really done would go up to 14 minutes. You can see, you know, once you've pulled out those other eggs, it's just, the water was just barely covering that egg, so it's good that we started out with a little bit extra. Here we have our 12-minute egg going into the water bath. And then you might wonder how long we want to let these sit in here. And you do want to, you know, gently swish them around a little bit. You don't want to crack them, but it will end up being a little hotter around where the egg is if it's just been stationary for a long time. And if you stir it, recirculating that cold water will cool them more quickly. But you just want it to be cold enough so that when you pick it up, it feels cold in your hand and it doesn't warm up as you hold it for a few seconds. So let's try our 6-minute egg. There we go, 6-minute egg. Holding it. It's really cool when I first put it in my hand, and it gets kind of like room temperature feeling after a few minutes or a few seconds. So I think it needs to cool a little bit longer. Probably not all the way cool to the center. If you try and peel them too early, again, it's really hard to peel them. You'll end up ripping apart the egg white. We'll come back when these are all cool, and then we'll peel them and show you what the insides look like. So we're gonna remove our eggs here from the water. I'll just do them one at a time, starting with the one that's been cooled the longest. And tend to just tap it on a hard surface and then roll it around, loosen the shell from the egg white. There's like a little film or skin under there. If you can get underneath that, that's what's going to really make it easier to pull that shell away. And if it starts sticking a little bit, just might mean you have some really fresh eggs. Just dip it in the water. You know, that will also help loosen it up. It's also not the end of the world if you have a little bit that sticks. I'm going to do this with each of the eggs, and then we'll cut them in half so you can see what the insides look like. And we'll be back to show you what that looks like in a minute. So we're back. We have our peeled eggs, 6, 8, 10, and 12-minute eggs, and I'm just going to slice them. And let's see, and if you get a crack in one, just slice along the crack. You can see this one, you can see it's nice and jammy, but the white is fully cooked. So that's like a perfect, you know, jammy egg. Put them like this. All right, 8-minute egg. So that it's, you know, it's still a little softness in the middle of the yolk, but it's pretty firm. It's not leaking out. We have our 10-minute egg. This one, it's, you know, just about totally solid. Just a little bit of brighter orangey yellow in there in the middle. Then last we have our 12-minute egg, which should be fully cooked. Yeah, perfect. So you can see that we have from 6, 8, 10, and 12 minutes. 12-minute one is fully cooked, and there's none of that, you know, nasty looking green or black area around. It's perfectly cooked. You might start to get a hint of that if you did the 14-minute egg, and anything beyond that's overcooked. Also, if you boil them ahead and let them sit in the fridge for a long time, you'll start to develop that blackened yolk as well. So there are your hard-boiled eggs.